Mr. Lewis?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Jeff Lewis, Brodler Lewis LLP. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Kidman family and on behalf of the general public. Thank you for the courtesy of pulling this off the consent calendar 2 weeks ago. The City Council this evening has two options, a simple option and a complex option. The simple option hasn't been presented to you. The simple option is order the encroachments removed and allow the natural grasses to just regrow. That step would require no city maintenance, no city enforcement by code officers, and no placement of irrigation, either permanent or temporary. You just let the grasses regrow. That is a simple solution. On the complicated side, allowing somebody to plant on public parkland requires maintenance, irrigation, enforcement issues, an ongoing nightmare for the city. Now, the city is required to make certain findings before they approve landscaping on public parkland. The city has to find either that views would be improved or public access would be improved. Neither of those findings are applicable here. The reason this applicant has hired and spent money on a top-notch landscaping firm is to make their property more valuable at the expense of public parkland. In their own words, it's in the staff report, they want to create a barrier for the public. And that's not an appropriate reason to allow landscaping on public parkland. I'll also suggest that the proposed landscaping violates the city's landscaping policy passed in 2012. The policy of the city is that parkland landscaping should only be done to retain an undeveloped and natural look that simulates natural forestation and ground cover. That's not what's being proposed here. Landscaping should not be done so that the area appears to be privately owned or so that the landscaping creates a barrier to the public. That's exactly what's being proposed here. Finally, there's the matter of the deed restrictions. Parkland is deed restricted. I emailed the city attorney about this. I'm not going to go into much details other than to say there's no distinction in terms of square footage or minor or major plantings in the deed restrictions. The deed restrictions are very clear. Get written approval of the art jury. It would have been very easy for this applicant to get a waiver from the art jury saying, this is too small, we don't need to deal with it. They didn't get that. Proceed at your own peril. I would encourage you to make the correct and simple enforcement, the correct and simple choice, which is just to allow the natural grasses to regrow. You won't have an enforcement problem. You won't have to water it. It's much easier. Thank you.
That was beautifully timed, Mr. Lewis. Thank